So states are starting to lift restrictions and things are somewhat getting back to normal. However, I don't think that the movie theater industry is ever going to get back to normal. Now, in some states, you can go to the movie theaters right now. They are open some places, but not everywhere. And that's part of the problem, is not every theater is open. You also have the issue with people releasing movies for digital distribution. A lot of movies have come out digitally. Scoob, Trolls World Tour, and I think the upcoming King of Staten Island and a few other movies are all going digital. This is a strange time because, usually you would have to have gone to the theaters. There was a game they all played together where they basically would release it in theaters, and then you had a little bit of a time period in between, maybe 3 to 6 months, however long it was, and then it would come out on physical formats and renting. Now, recently, they've been pushing digital, so you would get a digital release sometimes a month before you could even buy it. So you would have to buy the digital version. You couldn't even rent it. That's, of course, changed. Now you've got movies coming out for rental, but you've got to pay like $20. You have to pay a premium price. And the problem with that, at least for movie theaters, is now people are used to just sitting at home and watching new releases. And unfortunately for movie theaters, again, the revenue take for studios versus how much theaters would take, they make more through digital distribution. So Amazon and all of these outlets that release movies digitally, they take less of a cut than movie theaters. So they're making more money by doing it this way. And unfortunately for movie theaters, how many people are going to go to theaters again when all of this stuff clears up? Like, a lot of people are going to be hesitant, It's kind of a new thing. I think drive-in theaters and stuff might pop up, but that's not enough to push an industry. So I really wonder how theaters are going to do. Cinemark giving some good points for their plan to reopen, but even there, we don't know. The full-on rhythm of movie theaters might not come back to 2022. That's a long time away. Do you really think that theaters can survive that long? You're talking a whole nother year? And this is, of course, speculation even on their part, but it just doesn't look good. You already have people used to being able to sit at home and watch movies. Theaters and movie studios are already arguing about it. You have AMC and a bunch of other outlets saying, hey, look, we're not going to play your movies. We're going to boycott Universal Studios and all these other outlets for playing movies, and that's kind of a problem. So there's already arguing going back and forth. I just don't see it working. But the biggest blow is AMC. AMC putting out stuff like this. AMC Theaters has substantial doubt it can remain in business. They're going to go bankrupt for sure. You have reports here that the company's revenue fell to $941.5 billion, which was down roughly 22% from $1.2 billion in the same quarter last year. This quarter, the situation has substantially gotten worse. We are generating effectively no revenue, the company said in a regulatory filing Wednesday. AMC will continue to monitor the potential lifting of various government operating restrictions, but added that the chain has serious challenges even if restrictions are lifted. That includes studios holding back new films from being shown. Even if government operating restrictions are lifted in certain jurisdictions, distributors may delay the release of new films until such time that operating restrictions are eased more broadly domestically and internationally, which may further limit operations, the company said. The company said that it had a cash balance of $718 million as of April. When you think about how much it costs to maintain these theaters, pay rent, or whatever taxes as well, that's not that much money. And they're not bringing anything else in. They're just sitting there. This is a problem that a lot of businesses in the entire country, or actually, I'm going to be honest, in the world face right now. I don't know. If an AMC, I'm pretty sure, is the top movie theater chain in the world. It says it right here. The world's biggest movie theater has substantial doubt that it can remain in business. I don't see them making it. Isn't it crazy to think about a world with no more movie theaters? Just, 6 months ago, we were all going to see movies. We all went and saw, I went and saw Harley Quinn. I think, And oh my God, I just hit me now as I'm recording this video. Well, no, this isn't true. I was going to say Harley Quinn was my last movie theater experience. And then I remembered Sonic the Hedgehog came out after. At least if that's the case, at least Sonic the Hedgehog is my last movie theater experience. Now, I do think movie theaters will exist in some capacity, but what it's going to look like, I don't know. I think it's safe to say that Sonic the Hedgehog will probably be my last traditional movie theater experience. That's for sure. And man, isn't that crazy? For some people, it might be Harley Quinn. That's a sad thought, isn't it? It's a sad thought, isn't it? Your final traditional movie theater experience is Harley Quinn. For some people, that's probably true. And a lot of other people, it's Rise of Skywalker. That's your final time at the movie theaters. Terrible. Terrible. At least if mine is Sonic, at least it was a movie I enjoyed. So, I mean, I do take some comfort in that. But I got one more article I wanted to go over here. AMC fears the worst for the future of movie theaters. And there's some interesting stuff in here. So the first two paragraphs of the article, we already kind of went over. But there's a timeline that they go over here. And if it's not met, there's financial disaster for the company. And I want you to understand, AMC is the biggest movie theater chain in the country. If they go bankrupt, that's a big blow. You will most assuredly see every movie go digital and to theaters for sure, 100%. Right now, not all of them are. Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan movie coming out, as of right now, they're not pushing that movie to go digital. It's going to be on screens only, as far as I know. Now, that could change in a week. So let's go over the rest of this. We believe we have the cash resources to open our theaters and resume our operations this summer or later, said AMC. If we do not recommence operations within our estimated timeline, we will require additional capital, and we may also require additional financing if, for example, our operations do not generate the expected revenues or if there is a recurrence of the COOF. And if that were to cause another suspension of operations, they're going to be in trouble. Okay? They've already been down again. And that's another problem that, I don't know what's going to happen there. We're going to find out what around, wintertime comes. We'll find out, is this going to be endemic? Are we going to have it pop up again? We can't keep shutting down like that. It'll cause a lot of problems. And that's something we'll have to deal with. And they're worried about that. This is a company worrying about that. If we have to suspend our operations again after already suspending them for as long as we did, the damage that caused, we won't be able to come out of that again. That's what I'm gathering from this. They're basically saying if we have to suspend again from this, we're done. So it continues on to say, if they need to secure additional financing, it may not be available on favorable terms or at all, meaning they might not be able to get good rates, or they might not even be able to get loans at all, which is a problem. You don't. A lot of people find this out when they go to apply for one. Just because you want a loan doesn't mean you're going to get one. And they could get one, but the interest rate is so crazy that getting one wouldn't make any sense because the interest would just ruin you. And that's a serious problem. And, I don't know what to say to that. It is a concern, and it would probably be more favorable for them to just liquidate at that point. I don't think that they've went bankrupt yet. That's also an option that they could do to get rid of a lot of their debt. That brings a whole nother batch of problems. Makes it hard for them to get loans too and stuff. Though, I'm not a company, so I don't know if it's different for companies that go in and out of bankruptcy. Not really sure. A finance channel out there that looks at stuff like that, I'm sure that's some great content for you to look at. Currently, there are no major theatrical releases planned for the month of June. Unhinged, a cat and mouse thriller starring Russell Crowe that is on no one's radar, hopes to be the first movie back in theaters on July 1st. And they also say here, like I said earlier, that Warner Brothers still intends to put Tenet in thousands of screens starting July 17th, followed by Mulan on July 24th. They also note in here that this could change, and it really could. So I don't know. It's crazy to think about. It really is. And that's why I've made a lot of videos on this subject, and they're hit or miss as far as interest. But I'm really interested in where this is going to go, because movie theaters have been around for a long time. My whole life I've been going to movie theaters, and I have a lot of great memories of going. It's one of my favorite things to do, to be honest. I like going to the movie theaters. It's something to do to get out. You know, it's something cheap that you can do to get out of the house. You know, if you don't get any snacks and you go at a decent time, you only pay, I mean, you can go to like $5, like $5 days at some theaters. Earlier times, they're cheaper. Or, you know, you just go and you get a ticket and don't get any snacks. But it's something to do that's at a reasonable price for the most part. So, you know, it will suck, at least for me, to lose that, because I'll miss it. But it's highly likely that it's going to happen. If AMC goes down with as many screens as they own, will someone step up and buy them? You know, can Cinemark do that? They think they're the third biggest. You know, what's going to happen there? It's going to be interesting to watch this play out, but either way, if AMC goes down, I'm doubtful that the industry can survive. And that just means more movies are going to go to, you know, digital first. They're going to be streaming them and available for download. And I mean, that's great and all, but it's not quite the same as seeing a movie on a big screen and, you know, with the sound that you get in a theater. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that theaters can bounce back? Do you think people will go back? Do you care? Is it a big deal to you? What are your thoughts on this? I'd really like to hear them. Also, if you would, share the video, throw a like up. Make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.